Welcome to MacGyver's Workshop, where you never know what we're going to be working on next. If you're not too careful, you just might learn something.
Hi there. Welcome back to another episode of MacGyver's Workshop, where you never know what we're going to be working on next, and if you're not too careful, you just might learn something. So today, in the third part in our series of how we're building what we're calling a Redneck Wetblaster, is basically a sandblaster powered by a pressure washer instead of compressed air. Works a lot better, a lot less dust, and we're on to the point where we're ready to make our connection from our holding barrel here for water to the pressure washer itself. Now to do that, we're going to use some brass fittings here, and we're going to use a 3/4 inch pipe thread to a 3/4 inch hose nipple to come off of the ball valve there to a male garden hose fitting, again with a 3/4 inch hose nipple on it. And we're going to use this reinforced nylon hose. So what we'll do is we'll figure out our length to get from point A to point B, and we'll put our ends on it, and easy peasy. Now, one thing you'll find is that this stuff can be very difficult to work with in cold weather, and it just doesn't want to cooperate. So we'll use our heat gun and carefully warm it up, and we'll make it a little more flexible. Now we're all set. We've got our ball valve here. We can turn this on and off. And we got our hose going over here to feed the pressure washer. Now we'll move on and set our little valve up, our feed valve up at the top. And we'll have to come through right about here. And then we'll have a short length of hose on it that can connect to the garden hose. And then we can control how fast the water is going into this barrel by this valve. So let's get a figure on where we want to be here. And we will do that. And again, we have to watch. We don't want to get too close to the top of the barrel because the thickness changes. And there we go. Now we'll have to mark where our bolts are going to go, because we'll run a bolt through here and here to hold it nice and steady inside the barrel. And we can drill our holes. Very nice. Now our valves in there, we can control our feed water. I'll trim these off here later. Now, we have to make our hose bib. And again, we're back to the nylon hose here, which is going to be very uncooperative given the cold temperature. So we'll warm this piece up too. She's ready to go. We got our little hose bib coming off of here, and this will hook to your garden hose. You can turn your water on and open your valve up and fill your barrel, and easy peasy. All right, now, to hold the barrel down to the frame, rather than make some heavy, elaborate fixture, we can go ahead and just drill through the bottom of the barrel into the wood there on the plates. And then I'm going to repurpose some of these bolts that came with that garden cart kit that have a gigantic head on the top. And then I made a rubber gasket out of some more of that tractor belt, and it'll just go right down through a good thick portion of the barrel through there, and then we'll back it up with a washer and a lock nut on the bottom, and it'll hold that barrel in place real sturdy without a whole lot of fuss. The next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that our vessel that's going to hold our blasting media is kind of set up at an angle and tilted a little bit so that all the sand will go down to this corner. Now, the vibration of the motor on the power washer will make all that sand, you know, kind of dance its way down into this corner where that tube will go down here and pick it up. So what I've done is I've cut a piece of plywood that'll fit the bottom of this like so. Okay, and you'll see here in this picture it's tilted, but it's also tilted this way, and it's about 10 degrees each way, which is just enough to make this happen. And then we've got our boards cut, and I'll screw these down and then screw this down to it, and then we'll put a kind of a skirt around it to hold that in place. Then once we have that done, then we'll start working on our sifter. So, and what that'll do is that'll allow us to use like the cheap play sand, and as each time we use a bag of it, we'll dump it right in the top and it'll sift it down in there, and we don't have to worry about clogging our gun up. All right, we're going to need to use some cabinet clamps here. Never have too many cabinet clamps. Now, we're going to cut our piece here that's going to make our angle, or drill our piece here that's going to make our angle. We're going to pre-drill it, and then we're going to countersink the hole so our wood sits nice and level. And to do that, we'll use this, which almost kind of looks like a step bit, but this is actually a countersink, and it'll make a nice tapered seat for that screw to go down into, because again, that's another way that you can split your wood, especially when you're going down through the wood this way. So what we'll do, we'll just take this like so, and you can see how that makes a nice little tapered seat in there. And there we go. Very nice. Very nice. Now we'll make us some sides here and we'll be all good to go. Very nice. Perfect. So now what I have is I've made 4 pieces, 4 corners essentially like this, okay, that are going to go around here to make a base for our sifter that's going to go back and forth across the top here. So now I'm going to need to get these all mounted on each corner and then we'll go from there. Alrighty then. So now what we have, we got all 4 of our corners up, and we have some flashing that acts as a kind of like a funnel, if you will. Make sure that as we sift all the sand that it goes straight down into the bin and it doesn't go running out on the ground anywhere. And we've got ourselves a little here with some wheels on it that will essentially slide back and forth on this little track that I have set down in there. You'll notice I've used metal wheels, so they'll be more durable than rubber ones. And unfortunately, they're going to be squeaky, but that's okay. And then what we're going to do, we're going to build a little more framework up around here to keep this sharp flashing from cutting anybody. And then we're going to mount a old jigsaw. And what that will do is that'll give us our reciprocating motion here like this. And as we have this full of sand, I've still got to put some raised sides on this. It will shake this back and forth, and we'll have our screen down in here, and all our sand will sift through. So, all right, now the next step we got to do is we want to, now that I got my box all mocked up and everything, we're going to take it back apart, and we're going to put our sieve screen in here. Now, I'm using hardware cloth because, you know, that sand's real heavy and it'll have a tendency to tear your screen if you just try and use like regular window screen. So problem with hardware cloth is that usually the smallest you can get has 1/4 inch holes. I'll come and show you here. So each one of these little holes is 1/4 inch. So what we'll do is we'll put down 2 layers of it, and then we'll offset each layer so that we effectively end up with a little less than 1/4 inch, which is more than adequate for our little wet blaster rig. So I've cut my first piece and have it stapled down at the moment. Now I have to, I'm about done cutting my second piece here. And best thing for this is a good pair of snips, tin snips. And this will be sharp, so it will be pokey and sticky and pointy and all that good stuff. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to lay this down. Now I'll bring the camera over and show you when I'm done that what our screen will look like. And then we're going to take and use our air stapler and staple down our second layer. just has to kind of hold it in place ever so slightly, because we're going to screw our boards down over here. So we don't have to be terribly perfect with it. All right, now let me bring the camera over here and let me show you how we did this. So you can see how those 2 layers of hardware cloth are offset ever so about halfway. And what that does is that basically cuts it in half as far as, you know, what'll pass through it. So, and that's more than adequate for what we'll be using with this blasting rig. So that's how we'll do it. Took a bit, but we got her done finally. We've got our bin down there where our sifted blast media will go. Then we kind of have a shield coming up around here to keep any media from splashing anywhere. And then we have our little sifter bin right here. We've got a bit of a hopper kind of going on there. And then the bit that I'm most proud of really is how we'll get this thing to, you know, sift the sand. Now I don't have any sand in it right now, obviously, but you can see how it works. Basically, I took actually it was my old Jigsaw that I for some reason never threw away when I upgraded to a newer one. And that saw never did cut right for me anyway. It just doesn't have enough power for the kind of stuff I cut. So my bigger one does a whole lot better now, and this one's just been kind of sitting around gathering dust. But if you were to be clever, you can take the blade mount off. And let's see if I can get her to focus here. And mount a strap of steel right here that goes through and connects down in here to this bit. And once you apply power to it, I'll sift through a bag of sand in no time. So now all I got to do is wait for some warmer weather to take her out and try her out. So and also we've got our suction tube fixed down into the media bin there. And it comes to here, of course, and that'll hook onto the wand, the end of the pressure washer. So, like I said, it's just a matter of getting some a little bit warmer weather, and then once the warmer weather hits, then we can start really getting hot and heavy on this truck project, and then we'll be ready to really give this thing a workout by sandblasting the frame on a donor truck. Well, that's going to be it for this until we get to take her out for a test ride And thanks for watching. If you have any questions, I know I skipped over maybe a few things here in the process of this build. Maybe I didn't go into as much detail, but if you have any questions, please feel free to ask down in the comments. Or you can also email me at MacGyversWorkshop@gmail.com, and I'll always get to answering anybody's questions that post them to me in an email. So if you liked what you see, please subscribe, and don't forget to click that bell icon for notifications when I post a new video. So till next time, thanks for watching.